Hi, I'm Jack. Welcome back to my channel and a new video. Today I'm going to be reviewing Exorcist 2 The Heretic. And I'm kindly doing you all a service reviewing this so that you can save 2 hours of your life by never subjecting yourself to this horrendous movie. So the story here is following a priest who wants to investigate all the mysterious circumstance around Father Merrin's death from the first film, and to do this he goes and meet with Regan to see if he can work out and discover what really happened that day. Wow, I don't even know where to start with this one. This was a bizarre film. I genuinely think the only good thing I can say about this is the fact that I was intrigued by how strange it was getting. I was just kind of interested to see what kind of weird thing it would throw at me next. I actually think it's unintentionally funny in so many parts that to some extent it can keep you entertained. I think the problem is though, because this is quite a long film and it just gets so strange by the end that you actually start to become bored and frustrated by it. So by the last half an hour, I really was just wishing for the end of this. I think it does have that classic sequel problem where it starts answering a load of questions that were posed in the original film, like some of the mystery that was left, and it gives answers to those things. And I think that's a really bad idea in films for general to do, especially when the first one works so well. When the mystery is part of what made the film interesting, when you can discuss with people, you can discuss the ambiguity and, you know, kind of think for yourself about what was really happening there. You know, in the first one, it never really explains why this presence went towards Regan, why it possessed her, what exactly it was trying to do. Anyway, it hints at certain things, but it always leaves it down to you to think for yourself as well. And with this one, it ends up giving us very direct answers to a lot of the mystery from the first film. And these are answers that I just really don't like. Number one, because they're bizarre, but they're just terribly written as well. So it actually, by making this film, they've actually made the story of the first one worse as well, because in my mind now that I've seen the two, I know this is where it goes afterwards. So it actually hurts the experience of the original. So we start out with this story plot that Regan now has these psychic healing abilities. So she's working with all these troubled kids and she can heal them just by speaking to them. And because she has this gift, this is why the demonic presence attaches himself back to her, or it only attaches itself to people, I think, that have this gift. At least I think that's what the story was doing. Again, a lot of this, I've only actually worked out what was actually going on with the story because I read up about the film afterwards. A lot of what I'm about to tell you about this film, you won't be able to get from just watching it because of how strangely it's done. You just won't be able to pick up on a lot of this because I honestly didn't have a clue what was going on through most of this. But anyway, yeah, we start off, we get Regan and this psychiatrist or therapist, and they're working together using this hypnotism machine. So they sit together, they hypnotize each other together, and then they're able to explore certain issues and stuff like that. And just the way it's done, this is like the first half an hour of the film. It's really long and drawn out. It's really strangely done. And they kind of show this recreated vision of the events of the end of the first film, where you had Father Merrin being killed by the possessed Regan, and it's done in such a cheap and nasty looking way, again just kind of butchering that first film all over again. And it was by this point I started to realise what I got myself into. I was really intrigued to see some of these Exorcist sequels. I kind of had heard a bit about some of them. I thought they were meant to be quite good, but yeah, I realised at this point the mistakes that I'd made watching The Exorcist 2. I think that just the thing that makes this worse as well is how awkward all the acting is and just the really atrocious dialogue. The guy who plays the priest, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but he looked embarrassed in the role. I did wonder why. You see in a lot of the scenes that he's just absolutely drenched in sweat, even when he's just wandering about a house. And I can only imagine that's because he was embarrassed to be in this film, because the way he delivers lines and stuff, it all comes across very stilted, very awkward. And the way the dialogue is written, again, it's laughable at times. There's so many scenes where I was just like, what were you on about there? It just comes across horribly. And with Linda Blair, I kind of feel a bit sorry for her, to be honest, because I do think there's something quite intriguing about her. I feel like she's an actress that could have been quite good in the right movies. I'm pretty sure this is where her career pretty much ended, at least in like mainstream films. But there is something intriguing about her, and I kind of appreciate that here she is taking the film seriously. She's doing her best, but again, I think it's because of the material she's been given to work with. It just doesn't come across well. So yeah, I did end up just kind of feeling for her a bit whilst watching this. Again, she was only like 17 at the time, and she was given this just absolutely bizarre script to work with. So fair play to her for trying, but it really didn't work. By the end of this whole long and drawn out hypnotism scene as well, things start to get really silly by this point. So you have one of these kids who sits outside these sessions, and they give the priest this picture of him with flames behind him, and suddenly him and the therapist just have this knowing that there's a fire somewhere. So they run down to the basement, and there's this box on fire, and there's this long scene where he just picks up a wooden crutch and he's just whacking this box, and the flames are just getting bigger and bigger. And I was just laughing at this point. I was like, what is going on here? And that really sets the tone at this point for how weird and silly the film gets after this. Anyway, going on after that, then you have this whole thing with, basically it keeps flashing back between what's going on with Reagan and also the story in Africa. And this is what I'm talking about, where I couldn't make head nor tail by what was going on in these scenes, because you get this tribe of people who are being chased around by locusts, and you're watching a POV shot. You're flying around on a locust just with these horrible 70s special effects. I don't know what to make of any of it. I'm just as confused as you probably are listening to this review right now. It ends up just feeling quite trippy to watch as well, because, as I said, you're flashing back between these random scenes in Africa with all these locusts flying about. You've got all the demonic possession stuff going on with Reagan. She's walking around in her sleep, standing on the edge of buildings. And in the background of all of this, you've got this very strange music playing, which does not fit with The Exorcist at all. You know, this isn't the Tubular Bells. It's like very odd music, kind of overdubbed with all this squealing that's really off-putting to listen to. And it's by this point that the whole thing got really unpleasant to watch. And yeah, started to get a real chore just to actually make it through this. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this one, to be honest. I literally can't recommend it to anyone for enjoyment. I think if you're someone that gets intrigued by really bad movies just by like the story of what went wrong with it, I think that's the only type of person I could ever recommend this to. I probably will have to try and find some interviews with the director John Boorman and work out like what was he thinking when he actually made this, because I can't make any sense of this film, to be honest. It wasn't entertaining, the script was absolutely dreadful, and the whole execution of this film was just utterly bizarre. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to only give this one a 1 out of 5. And it's only making it up to that 1 again, as I said, because I was just slightly intrigued by how strange the whole experience was. So hopefully you've all heeded my warning of The Exorcist 2 if you haven't seen it yet, and you stay well away from this one. But if you have seen this for any reason, please also let me know what you think of it. I did actually have a look on IMDb before I made this review, just to see what the general consensus was about this. And a lot of the top reviews are people that have actually given this a high rating. So I don't know if they just enjoy being unique or they just enjoy how bad the movie is. I'm not sure, but please do let me know if you've seen the film. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to be doing some more of these Exorcist reviews as well. I'm kind of intrigued to go on with these sequels and see where it goes next, because I have heard actually that some of the later films here are actually quite good. And of course we've got the new one, Exorcist Believer, on Friday, so I'll be giving you all a review for that as well. Please do like and subscribe if you've enjoyed my video, and I'll see you next time.